Happy Sunday, Sonder family. Welcome to your weekly setup. I'm Jennifer Ogilvy. I'm glad that you are here this morning. I will be your facilitator on the call to lead you through setting up a new week. We are so glad to see you. I know last week was Labor Day weekend, so everybody set their journals up without their accountability partners, but we are back this morning. In our chat this morning is my co-facilitator, Karen. And so she's popping on to give you a good morning wave. If you have any questions along the way, be sure to drop them in the chat, and Karen will do her job or her best to point you in the right direction. So I hope you have she's in her robe because good morning. It's a morning. It's early in California. I have my big, super duper big cup of coffee today. It was a long, happy day yesterday and didn't get quite the sleep. I'm going to try to stay focused for you guys, but I'm still a little sleepyhead. Love the little graphic on our screen that you see there. If you are looking to build a little routine in your Sunday evenings, you might want to grab that and then you can start a new routine for this week. Make sure that your chat is set to everyone so that you see that little blue where it says to everyone. Otherwise, when you share, it's only going to Karen and myself, and no one else can see the wonderful things that you want to share with the Sonder family. Is there anybody here for the very first time doing a weekly setup? If that's you, drop a me in the chat box so everyone can. Oh, we've got some new folks with us today. Welcome, Sonder family. So you will find that so many of us, we know what we're going to do in our journal, but we come to these setups for that self accountability, that support. That it's our, we check in with each other, we share ideas. Want to give you guys a big welcome. You will love this community. A lot of you have a cadence, you know how you're setting things up, but if you're brand new, or you're looking to maybe change something up, grab your cell phone or get your screenshot keys ready, because you might see something on the screen that resonates with you and you might want to figure out how you can explore that further to use in your journal. So that's just a little pro tip there. I hope you've got your stickers, your colored tape, your colored markers, your pens. I tend to just be, I've got my favorite little Sharpie pen. That's sort of, if I get fancy, I might outline something with some colored pencils, but I tend to be pretty plain in my journal. And so let's start. Let's get going. Let's dig in. In Sonder Club, we have, or our Sonder time together, we have community guidelines. And this is just about, being kind to yourself and to others. And April just said she has a Sonder anniversary. Happy anniversary, April. And thank you for sharing that. And yes, you're not a journaler or you're crafty, Liz. Well, listen, I'm not all that crafty, and I'm crafty, but not in my journal. I use it for pen and paper. So hopefully we'll be able to give you some ideas to use that. Our theme this month, now remember, we do these themes to do a deep dig into ourselves and get to know ourselves better. And this month is flourish. And I loved this. I got this off of Twitter and I saved it a long time ago. And I'm not sure if Ariel is a influencer or not, but I really like the reminder that we need to be kind to all the past versions of ourselves. Those past versions are the soil in which you now bloom, in which you are now flourishing. So we are grateful for all the stuff in our life. This morning, we're going to work on that Flourish mind map, and it's week 2. I know last week We were all kind of doing it in Sonder Club, but we'll do it together. And if you want to catch up with week one, you can do that. And if you're brand new, I'll explain what the mind map is. We're going to do our rosebud thorn reflection, our weekly setup where I have lots of ideas from Sonder family to share with you. And then we'll close and we will go about our day with our week set up. The important thing about setting up your week is then when you can look at your calendar, you have a legit way to go, oh, no, Thursday's not going to work. I'm booked. You're looking at that. It really helps you not overcommit and keep your boundaries to keep yourself, just kind of flourishing and not overwhelmed. So each month with that monthly theme, we do a mind map, and that is a deeper dig into that theme. We have a lens that we look through. And again, it just helps us get to know ourselves better. So this month, we will have 4 different weekends. So we'll have 4 spaces that we will want to use, and we will add to that week by week. So last week was what things do I need to flourish? Okay. What are the things in your life that you need to flourish? And then this week is where do I need to be to flourish? And then you'll have to come to a weekly setup next week to find out what week 3 is. So let me just show you very quickly my page. Week 1, the things I needed to flourish. I like a tidy, organized space. I need replenishing weather. This hot, dry, record-breaking heat in Texas has really done a number on me. And I'm really having to kind of, jazz myself up about another hot day. I can't get outside and exercise. It's just too much for this old lady. I need good rest. I need contentment. I need connection with my people, creative outlets, opportunities for continued growth. I am an early retiree, and so I want to make sure that I keep growing. And I need purpose. I like to be needed, but I also need boundaries. And then this week is where do I need to be to flourish? And so I took this in 2 different directions. I did my literal where I need to be, my garden or my yard, sitting at my sewing machine, because that's one of my favorite ways to be creative. And then anywhere my kids or my grandkids are. But I also took it in more of a figurative way. I need to be in a good headspace to flourish. So I need that positive self-talk. I need to exist in the present, not the past, not that stuff, that provided soil for me, but I need to keep moving forward. And I get to decide what I do with my emotions, and I choose happiness. So that's kind of how I frame this out. Now, in your weekly mind map, I did mine on the definition page this month. You could do this in a notes page, just a blank page, and set that up. You might want to do it on the weekly scratch pad from week to week. There's not a right way or a wrong way to do this. This is kind of where you want to put it in your journal. So let me put on some music. I'm going to go back to our slide and you can start working on that. And if you have time, share what you put for last week, what things you need to flourish, and this week, where do you need to be to flourish? And I'll be back to check on you in just a second. Thank you all for sharing. Now, I neglected to mention, I did drop it in the chat, but when you're looking at where you need to be to flourish, you could also take it in the direction of where do I not need to be, right? So maybe like you have all these great environments and places, but maybe there's one that, you really don't need to be there, right? And so you could frame that out as that dig into, um, the places you need to better flourish. Alrighty, so we're going to kind of wrap this part up. Now, you can continue to work on this as the day goes on, but we are going to dig into our rosebud thorn reflection. So we're going to do this reflection every week at the weekly setup. This week, we're looking at page 36. We're wrapping up that week in September. And we like to look at the roses as the things that went great, that brought us joy, something we're grateful for, something positive that's going on in our life. And then the bud is what is something you're looking forward to, or is there a new opportunity heading your way? Maybe something that you're thinking about that's going to give you hope or motivation to keep, trucking on. Um, that's our bud. And, I know sometimes folks will be like, I don't see an emerging opportunity in my life for a bud. And I want to remind you that sometimes that can be as simple as I have a new start this week, or it's a new month. Or a new season is coming. So don't overthink that one. And then the thorn is something that was challenging or stressful, something you might need support with. And so my reflections this past week, I'm going to start with my thorn. We've just had a really rough time with our air conditioner unit. I'm in an older home. We moved 3 years ago, and my home is over 50 years old. And I don't even know how old my AC unit is, but it's been working pretty well. We had a significant fix back in the front end of July, and the tech, they tell you no, you'll get some more mileage out of it. So you say, okay, that's good. We're going to keep it hopping along. And then it went out again. And so we're kind of at that point now. Are we just dumping money into this lemon that's going to just be broken forever? Is it time to start thinking about replacing? So that is definitely a thorn. But my bud also has to do with, weather and heat. I think I'm crossing my fingers. They're predicting that we are done in the Dallas area with our triple digits. And so we're going to actually see some 80s this coming week. So it's going to feel like fall. And I'm so excited. And I took my Monday and Tuesday and I wrote garden over the whole two days because I'm going to just live outside. I'm so excited. So hopefully we won't see those hot temps again until next summer. And then my rose, my highlight, my littlest grandbaby. I have 3 under 5, and Mr. Crosby turned 1 yesterday. We had a big happy birthday party, and it was a tailgate theme for his first year down. We are Longhorn fans, so we had a big win yesterday. So it was a really exciting highlight, a big rose for me. And I'm a Houston Astros fan, and I get to see them when they come to Dallas. And so we had that game this week, and the Astros swept the series. So my sports are just, off the charts today. So let me put on some music while we do this reflection. I would love to know, what are you looking forward to? What are your buds? And how can we kind of just be with you through these thorns and celebrate your roses? Thank you for sharing. I love doing this reflection. There's a thing that, there is, if you look hard enough, there's always, always, always something to be grateful for, to have a rose. You might have to dig deep. But we want to celebrate those things with you, but we are also here with you for those thorns. I love this community and the support that it provides when things aren't going so great. So, thank you guys for working on this and looking back over your week. And, think about what you want to take from last week and move forward into next week. So, let's get our week set up, our new week. I cannot believe how fast, it seems things are going. We're going to be working on page 40 today, and we are in week 37, if you can believe that. Now, this is not an exhaustive list, but these are some ways that you can change some of these things up if something isn't working for you. And especially if this is kind of your first week to set up, we can use the spaces in our journal just as they are, right? But I don't really need a meal planner. I do that on an app for my phone, or I don't need the shopping list because I've got that in my list, on my phone. We have a ton of ideas for you to use those spaces, right? That way your journal really does become your journal. And so you can change anything, any spaces up. You can use them in any way. And we're going to go through a ton of examples. So if you're new and you might want to screenshot this list. This is again inspired from the Sonder family, from what we've seen in Sonder Club of how people set up their week. And so just some suggestions there, but I'm going to show you a ton of ideas as well. So like I said, we're going to be on page 40. And the first thing I want to do is ask you, how do you want to feel this week? So kind of think about the week you have ahead and drop that in the chat. And I love this quote from Leonard Cohen: act the way you'd like to be, and soon you'll be the way you act. And in Gretchen Rubin's The Happiness Project, she embraced this idea of acting how you'd like to feel. And she says it makes a huge difference. So I'm seeing that folks want to feel energized this week. They want to hear joy. They want to feel joy. They want to be cool, calm, and collected, just happy, productive, empowered. You can find a phrase that you like that will help you determine those feelings, or maybe just choose one word. This week I want to feel sunshiny and I want to be positively acquiescent. Just accept some of the yucky stuff like air conditioners going out by finding something, reframing it into a way to be grateful. So maybe there's a little picture you want to put there, a little doodle. There's no right or wrong way to do how you want to feel this week. And there's some more words if you're kind of trying to find something adaptable. Oh, I love that, Nona Natalie. Karen says, I want to feel there. I just be present, positive. You had a rough week last week, Kathy. Yes. So frame that out. So we're going to take those feelings now, how we want to feel, and we're going to use that to frame out, hopefully, our weekly goals. Ask yourself, how will the goals that you're going to set support the way you want to feel? Now, we have this space here for 3 weekly major goals, but you might only want one goal, or maybe it's a really busy week and you need to have 4 goals. Again, personalize this, make this work for you. So, we're going to take a look at this section as well as examples of the to-do list, and then we'll work on these two sections together. So, let's take a look at the weekly goals. Go back and look at those intentions. Are you paying attention to that page 9? How you wanted your month to be set up? When I first started doing this, I'd come up with intentions and then I'd forget to go back and check in and make sure that I was putting things in place for those intentions to really happen. Set your goal through the lens of flourish and maybe really do a deep dig into those that mind map and what do you need and where do you need to be to flourish. Perhaps we say goodbye to some things and create some no goals. Do you have anything outstanding that needs to just be brought forward? They don't have to be different every week if you're still working toward attaining some of your goals. A lot of folks will do it around a personal challenge each week, like maybe no spending or health, rest, and their goals will be around that theme. And then there's a lot of different ways you can set it up through different categories like mind, body, soul, or delete, delegate, delight. I've got a ton of examples to show you. And I love this quote that I found. My mental health really changed when I stopped asking myself, why am I so lazy or tired? And started asking, why does my body need so much rest now? And then it says, read that again. So I want to remind you that taking care of yourself, resting, getting good sleep, getting good nourishment are great goals for taking care of yourself. So here's some examples from our Sonder family. I'll run through them quickly, and then while you work on them, I'll go back and forth through these slides again. But just different ways to set the space up. You can see goals there on the left. One single word: breathe, move, and notice. And then there's the one in the middle is broken down by that mind, body, soul. Love the one over there on the right. Do, love, and be. So again, different ways to set that up. Now, look at the one that says celebrate. That's how they wanted to feel. And then each one of their goals is framed around that feeling. Again, some more examples from Sonder family. I love the one on the left, eat well, stay active, self-care, and then sort of jotted in what eat well means, right? Being very purposeful with getting that on paper. The one over on the right, I haven't seen this before, but it is a daily check-in with those goals. So for example, the first goal is no overwhelm with work. And then each day of the week, Monday, Tuesday, it's there and it's a daily check-in to just hold that for that self-accountability. I thought that daily check-in on that was really a great idea. There's that delete, delegate, and delight goals. And again, some more ways. There's somebody who's got 4 goals and they did a little box here and they've got read, write, move, and work. And then let's look at the to-dos, and then we'll work on both of these sections together. So the to-dos, this is where your to-dos for the week can go. Now, I tend to put my to-dos on each one of my days in the weekly spread. But if you have a huge, long, overwhelming list, use this tool called the Eisenhower Matrix. It will help you plug all those things into this box as to how important and urgent they are, all the way down to how not important and not urgent they are. It's just a really great way to kind of sort out a lot of to-dos. These are just different ways that folks set this space up to work for them. I like, divide it up into needs, wants, hopes, work and home, need and want, morning and evening to-dos, self, others, house. And then I found this graphic. I thought it was so funny because this is like so me. The one that's there on the bottom right, I bought a cake. Oh, wow. What's the occasion? Because I made progress on my to-do list and I felt like celebrating. Oh, that's great. And then you look at the to-do list, the first one, buy a cake. That's what's knocked off. I just thought that was so funny. Yes, no, Natalie, isn't it great? It's so funny. So, sometimes our to-do lists don't go quite as planned. That doesn't define you. To-do lists are neutral. Don't look at it and say, "Oh, I didn't get anything done." Um, go buy a cake on there and go buy a cake. And then again, here's how some folks set the space up, and notice the one along the top. They've written their 3 major goals, and then with those across, they went back over to the to-dos, and they put in the to-dos of how they were going to meet those 3 weekly major goals. And then finally, here's some repurpose ideas. So maybe you make a to don't list. Are there some things you are trying not to do? Just kind of like when we were talking about where do you not need to be to flourish? I at the bottom there, to be list. Maybe really focusing on how you need to be for this week. Love that beautiful, I told you I'm a plain just pen and paper person, but look at that ta-da bingo. What a fun to-do list. So just kind of gamified it. I'm not going to be that fancy, but man, if you've got those skills, you can get your doodles out of the way and make that. Now, I'm a to-do list girl. I leave this part blank. And the things that are kind of extra that I get done during the week, I write those down and celebrate that I did that. This is a great quote by James Clear. Instead of asking yourself, what should I do first? Try asking, what should I neglect first? And maybe that's what needs to go on your list. Trim, edit, cull, make space for better performance. So I'm going to throw on some music. I'm going to go back through all of these slides. If you saw something that speaks to you, grab a screenshot and then share in the chat kind of maybe what this week is going to look like for you. Okay, Barb, I put that slide up with that quote. So you can grab that very quickly. Oh, yes, you got it. Very good. All right, so we've got our goals and we're working on our to-dos, or we're gonna put the to-dos in the weekly spread and use this for that fun space to do a ta-da or maybe a bingo there. So now let's go down to the bottom of that page and look at that habit and activity tracker. And if you're here for the first time, you know we've got that big habit tracker wheel at the front of our journal, and that's our monthly habits that we plan to do. Shoot for most days of the month. The reason we have a habit and activity tracker in our weekly spread is that it can be, changed up week to week depending on what's going on that week. And you can maybe just put an activity down there that's going to happen once, but you're putting it on the paper, you're committing to it, and there's that strength of that pen to paper response. So, I have a ton of examples for you to see how different part members of our Sonder family fill this space out. Um, just some reminders, you don't have to fill in all 5 lines here. Maybe you're going to track 2 things this week. That is okay. This is your journal, so you need to make it work in your life. And especially if you're like brand new and you're figuring out how all of this works for you, kind of be gentle with yourself and don't try to overcommit to things. The one up in the middle, the upper middle, you can see they've marked off the weekend. So they're not even going to track that. Maybe they're traveling and they're just like, I'm not going to be worrying about those habits and activities while I'm taking a weekend away. Um, I like the one on that bottom. This is kind of a fun way to gamify this section. You can see that they have set a goal, the bottom right there, um, something 5 times for the week, 4 times for the week, 3 times for the week, 2 times for the week, and once. And they actually circled the days that they are shooting for that goal, for again, that accountability piece. So I take a medication that's every third day. And so that's very tricky to keep up with. So actually one of my habit and activities is that medication because every week it's different, right? We have 7 days, but the 3 day anyway, and I'll just circle that. And that's been my way of holding myself accountable to remember to take it on that particular day. Um, you don't have to track goals here if you want to just track when something happens. So the one that you see on the bottom left, they're just going to color in or mark off that space when that thing happens. They did not set a goal. So you can set a goal or you don't have to set a goal. It's really whatever works for you. And then I have a ton of habit and activity inspiration for this space. If you're kind of like, I don't even know what to put here, this might be inspirational to you. And I'll tell you, one of my weekly habits literally says, go check in with your monthly tracker. So it takes me back to that monthly tracker page. My eyes are laid on it, and then I can hold myself accountable for getting it done. So let me put on some music and I'll go back and forth between these slides so that you can work on your section, your habit and activity tracker, and let us know, like, what are you doing? Do you fill in all the blanks? Do you set goals? We'd love to know. I'll be back to check in with you in just a moment. All righty. We got page 40 set up. Let's go take a look at page 41. Now, I'm going to go through all of the sections of this page. And remember, you can use it as it's written, or you can repurpose these sections if something doesn't speak to you. So I'm going to show you a ton of examples, put on a good chunk of music so you have time to work on these pages and let us know how you do. So again, we're on page 41. We're going to look at the meal plan. Now, these are those big old juicy spaces, and lots of people like to repurpose this. And I know that some folks only want to do like their main meal of the day. And so they may put that somewhere else. I think, no, Natalie, you do that, where you just write down like what the main meal is going to be. And it might go in a different space, like your mind body health plan space, that smaller space. And then you use those good chunky spaces here in the menu planner for something, for the food plan for something else. Yes, dinner plans. So here's a lot of different suggestions for repurposing that space if you're not going to use it as your meal plan or a meal tracker. I use mine as kind of a tracker. I write down what we've eaten, kind of after after it happens. It helps me keep up with my leftovers because I still feel like I cook like I have a ton of people at home, and it's just my husband and me. So we eat a lot of leftovers, and that way we don't eat bad leftovers. Again, more ideas of what you can put in this space. Love the journal prompts and responses there with the little post-it notes that they can flip over. And then those water droplets are gold because you can color code them for what you're actually drinking, the fluid intake that you have during the day. But someone else told me, or I saw in Sonder Club, they were using it as a rating scale. And so there's 8 water drops, and they would take like the daily ritual and listen and respond to it and kind of rate it to how it affected their life, and like if they thought they got a lot out of it or if that one didn't hit so much. So I kind of thought that was a neat way to use those water droplets as a rating scale on a scale of 1 to 8. And then here's some more ideas of that space. And again, some of these you could actually put in another space, these ideas, if that's what works for you. The mind body health plan. I love this because this is kind of, for me, where I really focus on my self-care plans for the week. And it may be kind of that mental, emotional component of how I'm going to take care of myself, or it could be a week of like physical, how I'm going to take care of myself. But this space is kind of like my space for just me. There's a lot of different ways that you could use this space to respond to. Always love good alliteration, motivation Monday, transformation Tuesday, that kind of thing. That just makes it kind of fun. Some weekly intentions there in the middle, and then maybe a self-esteem journal where you do a daily reflection. So you can grab that if you want to fill those spaces in somewhere. Here's again some more examples from you guys. A cleaning list, maybe. I love the one down at that bottom. So the 7 kinds of rest is something that the Sonder family likes to take a look at. Sometimes we want to focus on being intentional with a different kind of rest each day. But this person, I'm assuming, did the quiz about what kind of rest do I need? And it looks like they landed on emotional rest. And so they've assigned themselves something each day that will support that emotional rest. So I really like that deep dig there. Just, a lot of different ideas. You could put your Wordle here. How do I feel? You ask yourself that. And what does that tell me I need? Like that one in the middle. Or how did I nourish my mind, body, soul? The one on the bottom right, asking myself the question, how did I care for myself? And then you put the response there. The shopping list, I keep a shopping list on my phone that I share with my husband. So this one gets repurposed into my tasks and treats bingo. Every week I have a little bingo board in this section, but here's a lot of ways you can repurpose it, use that. Again, I mentioned Wordle, chores. There's some fun bingos. I love the mind, body, heart, kind of, again, doing that focus that's there on the bottom right. My birthday week bingo, I did a bingo just around being kind to myself on my birthday, and I put a bunch of fun stuff in there. That's the one you see on that upper right. And then doodles, love the social check-in. I shared this a few weeks ago. We all just love that, being very mindful to check on the people in our lives. You could put a quote here, a good reminder, and then finally ask yourself, what am I loving right now, today, at this moment? And it could be anything, a book, a podcast, a song, maybe a new food, a new restaurant, just kind of what's out there in your life. So let me put on some music and we're going to work on this whole page. Let us know how you use this page, especially if you repurpose any of the spaces or you swap some things around. And if you're looking for inspiration, drop that question in Sonder Club because you guys are the best. So I'll be back to chat with you in just a few moments. All right, you guys had some great ideas, some repurposing that's going to work in your life so that that journal works just the way you need it to for you. This is a tool, we always say this is a tool for you. The journal works for you. You don't work for that journal. So you make it work in your life by framing out these things the way it's going to bring harmony and flourishing to your life. So, really quickly, let me share a couple of weekly spread pages so that you can maybe see, how people set these spaces up. And again, there's no right or wrong. It's what works in your life. You can see there's high lows, brain dump, self care, and household for each day. And then this person over there on the right does a glad reflection each day. What delight, it's gratitude, learning, accomplishment, and delight in the day. The appointments are up there at the top. Here's another way to set this up. Look at the little journal prompt area down at the bottom with her appointments. Work is up there at the top. But kind of keeping track of those appointments. And then the one on the right, I love that. All of these, to do, the win for the day. How can I improve? A self-care plan, what inspired me. So a lot of very intentional digging into, yourself and taking care of yourself. Here again, some more ways of setting these spaces up each day. I always am so inspired by the Sonder family. And then this was kind of a new thing. This was get your daily dose of happiness chemicals. This was in the Instagram account. And Karen pointed this one out to me because this is how someone has put in their journal ways of making sure they're accountable for that. So the dose was dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphins, those good chemicals we want in our body. And then you can see on their planning page for the week, they've got that little printout that they're putting in their scratch pad, and their dose is over there at the bottom of that list, and they're going to do this reflection on making sure they're doing things to increase those happiness chemicals. And you can notice so they've got the S is for starfish, and I'm not sure if one of you knows what that means, why a starfish, but I'm wondering if that's not something like reaching out into the world. I'm not really sure. But then there's a C. Oh, how they made a difference. Okay, thank you. It goes back to that poem, right, Karen, where it made a difference to that one when you throw that back one. There, when you throw it back. Yes. Compliment, give myself a pat on the back. And then the A is for affirmation. That's the affirmation from Sonder Club. G is for the gratitude of the day, and T is appreciation, that thank you each day. So, and then really leaning into the five senses. And so they've got the SHTTS, sight, hear, touch, taste, smell. So a lot of intentionality this, with this setup with those pages. So I wanted to share that with you. Karen pointed that one out to me today. So love how that page is set up as those reflections. So Sonder family, please share your pages in the Sonder Club so that we can share among our friends. Here are these important QR codes that you'll need if you want to refer a friend. They'll get $10. Your friend will get $10. You could upgrade to an annual subscription and actually save $110 if that works in your budget. I remember when we first got this graphic and Karen was like, "Ooh, you could put that money towards your self-care." It's awesome if you're able to do that. And then if you're not part of the Sonder family, be sure to scan that QR code over there on the right so that you can become part of our Sonder community. And then Karen has dropped a ton of links in the chat. You'll want to be sure that you grab that YouTube link. This social has been recorded, but there's over 550 socials that are on this private YouTube link. So you're going to want to be sure that you bookmark this page. And I just want to thank you guys for joining us this morning. It's going to be a fabulous week. You've set up, you know what your week will bring, you know where you have space to add more things to your plate, but you also have your boundaries built in now that you've been intentional with the week. Make it a good one, Sonder family, and we'll see you next time.
When we just wanna be free, I will not waste my days making up all kinds of ways to worry about all the things that will not happen to me. So I just let go of what I know I don't know, and I know I only do this by living in the moment, living my life easy and breezy, with peace in my mind, with peace in my heart, with peace in my soul. Wherever I'm going, I'm already home, living in the moment. I'm letting my